race number whatever of season 14, and we are in Melbourne. Sebo Campo from pole on Pastor Maldonado and Akari. Then it's Leo, Anokui, and Theodore Schumacher. Lawless Leclerc starts 7th with Solos Kynes alongside him. Then it's Bob in 9th, and running out the top 10 is Jaco Tigranes. David Camino is 11th from Yuki Suo, Mahavira Gunathan, and MF1 World. Bravo is 15th from UK Ball and Daniel Bogdasarov. Dav Sanchez 18th from Einat Babnis in 19th. Then it's Milrez, Marcus Nelson, and JD Venter. Well, after the past few rounds, anything can happen in the Formula E Monoposto Championship, and usually does. All 5 lights go on here in Melbourne. And we go green for the Melbourne E3, and that looks to be a very equal start from the top guys. It's the top Ross barreling now down towards turn 1. Pastor Maldonado will have the inside line, but he gets forced to the outside coming through that chicane. He's going to have another chance coming through this next chicane, however, so this could still be Pastor's lead, and it will be Pastor Maldonado who takes the lead of the E3. Leo up into 3rd place. His teammate Akari drops down to what could even be 6th place here. If he's not lucky, he's got Theodore Schumacher and Lawless Leclerc right behind him. Leclerc getting a time penalty. We have 14 laps around this track. This is the track with the least amount of DNFs on record whenever we come here. There's rarely ever on finisher. But it's Maldonado from Ocampo from Leo, and Akari still trying to keep up with the rest of the field. Looks like he's got a really bad start, and he's been dropped from 3rd to 7th on lap 1. And he's definitely been brake tested as well. Dav Sanchez with a time penalty down there. 5 seconds for causing a collision as he tries to send it up into 12th place on camera. He only gets 13th as JD Venter follows through. UK Ball dropping down the order as well. And Raver now getting past JD Venter. It's an all-out brawl out there for every single position where it matters. But Pastor Maldonado leading the way from Sebo Campo and Leo. We have track limits for Daniel Bogdasarov as well. Also not ideal for Andretti to lose the race lead and to have another driver not have the best record when it comes to track limits. We're going to see if we can get some team radio as well throughout this race. But if we don't, it's not too much of a problem. So, it's Maldonado who is leading the way. I don't believe he's taken a race win before in this championship. But this could be a good chance for Pastor Maldonado to take home a first career victory. Akari definitely not too happy with that P7. Started 3rd, dropped to 7th. Marcus Nelson with a time penalty. Well, look at how close he is to the back of Milrez. Fastest lap going to Akari. He tries to get himself further up the order. Milrez still currently under threat from Marcus Nelson. JD Venter, by the way, currently 14th. And Marcus Nelson is now up into 21st position. And Leo, he just took 1st position, and he's looking to try and take more from this race, maybe even a 2nd career victory, but he's going to have to defend from an Arcuri who pushes him very hard to the inside for the Hong Kong driver. These 2 drivers fought it out for the lead last time out, and he's going to have the inside line. It's an Arcuri. He sends it down the inside, and that will be 3rd place for an Arcuri. So it's Maldonado from Ocampo from Yui on lap 3 of 14 as they come through the final chicane here in Melbourne. It's been quite the race start, as into the pits, by the way, come Leo and Solos Kynes. And Dash Sanchez also in the pits, and that is Daniel Bogdasarov, UK Ball, I think. No, UK Ball staying out. Ocampo taking the lead there. Maldonado keeping him very honest as well. Look at how close he is to the back of that Andretti car. But that is Ocampo up into the lead of the E3. Maldonado with a track limits warning. Fastest sector going to JD Venter to 22.3. Yeah, and Maldonado, he looks very much under threat from an Arcuri here. He could be passed coming into the chicane because of the DRS activation point. And right there, he might even take the lead from Ocampo. He does take first place back from Sebastian Ocampo. So it's Maldonado back to the race lead here in Melbourne. And there's there's very much a gap between 18th and 17th due to Kynes, Sanchez, Leo, Bogdasarov, and many more now who have come into the pits. There's an entire pit lane train forming there. So we're going to see what happens later. Lap 5 and 14 will have 9 laps to go. We're going to go on board with Leo here. Kynes, I believe, yeah, Kynes should be the man to benefit the most from these guys coming in. But Leo should be third. These guys coming out first is Seb Ocampo. Ocampo has come out of the pit. Many other drivers coming out, and that's very close. Oh my goodness, phasing through in fact. And because Maldonado now dropping to 16th place, not ideal for Leo right now. His teammates, he's benefited a lot more. Akari trying to get past Ocampo. This is for 8th place due to these drivers having just come out of pit lane. And this could be Ocampo to what should be a net 2nd place instead of the race lead everyone would have expected him to take. But there he goes, Akari to the inside, gets switched back on. So that is now still 8 for Ocampo, but not for too much longer. They go side by side, and Akari takes 8th position. He has the fastest lap of the E3 as well as the top guys ahead of him. Everyone 7th above has come into the pits. So if you want to know what that means, if I am correct here, it means Akari will be leading this E3, but Ocampo draws alongside, and Inoculi! Inoculi has just come out of pit lane, Inoculi leading the race, but look at the train that's formed for the race lead! Kynes, Leclerc, Akari, Ocampo, and Inoculi, all in this train to try and take home a race win here. All of these drivers, apart from Akari, have already won a race in one championship or another. Akari is still yet to win. And so this could be Akari's best ever hopes of winning a race. Because look at the gaps between these drivers. Inoculi, these tires have absolutely already shredded, by the way. The degradation around here is so high. He's willing himself on to try and take some high positions. Is the number 10 car. He's trying his absolute hardest to win here in Melbourne. With 8 more laps to go in this race, there's still plenty of time for him to win and plenty of time for things to go wrong. So as we begin the half race distance, it's Yui from Ocampo from Akari. And I do believe that we are about to see the turning point around next lap when, and if you pitted the lap before, soft tires will have a lot less grip compared to the mediums. There is always that little switchover point for these tires. Sadly for the hards, it just really doesn't appear too quickly. So it's still an Ocampo leading the way. Seb Ocampo currently 2nd, with Akari behind. And Leclerc now, his teammate JD Venter has gotten past as Carlos Kynes, and Leclerc as well. He's dropped off the back of Akari. So it truly is a 3-horse race for the lead now. JD Venter, he's being held up by his own teammate. Leclerc really wants to try and take home as high a position as he can, as into the pits comes Kynes and Bob on lap 8 to 14 for their 2nd pit stops. This is a 2-stop race, no one out there on the hard tires, so there's no one trying to Hail Mary it on a 1-stop. Heck, this might even end up being a 3-stop race, as we are still on board with the number 10 car. And we don't know when they're going to try and call these drivers in. Leclerc swiped to try and overtake Akari, failed because of how close his teammate is. The 2 Mercedes squabbling over 4th to try and have a shot at taking P3. Akari kind of just sitting back now. He really just wants to hold on to his podium position at this point. He was fighting for the lead, and now he's just defending for all he's worth. as Bob now with a track limits warning, fighting with Sarlos Kind. And Ravo currently down in the last place. It's Sanchez just a bit ahead as Chiclerc has been passed by JD Venter. And Ocui is in the pit lane, so Ocampo leading the way with 5 laps to go from Akari and JD Venter. The race leaders should all come out of the pits on soft tyres, which could see them to the end of the race. JD Venter is really hounding Akari here. He's really trying to go for it, but he's not found any opportunity. Here he goes. Can he send it down the inside? The force very wide here. This could even be for the lead if he can just hold on. He's taken second position. Can the South African driver find redemption after losing out at his home race? Track limits for Marcus Nelson. There goes JD Venter. Can he take it? He can't. It was so close for the Mercedes driver. But JD Venter, he's going to have another shot coming down to this right-hander. Doesn't try and take it yet. So he's going to try and maybe take it at the start-finish straight. He tried a lunge and it most certainly failed. And the sky definitely looking a lot darker than before. Ocampo pits, JD Venter staying out, and Akari and Chiclerc all in the pit lane. So as he begins lap 10 of 14, it is JD Venter from UK-born Theodore Schumacher. I think Theodore Schumacher, yeah, Schumacher's in the pit, so I don't actually know who's P3 here. Camino coming into the pits, and right ahead of him, right there, that is Seb Ocampo ahead of Akari. This is going to be the fight for third on the road, but considering how the race could end, as long as it stays dry, this could be the fight for the lead. But Anarchui bashes with the DS Andretti car, taking that net third position all for himself. And yeah, the cloud's definitely forming. Is there rain falling? Yes, there is. Babinus and Ravo, both hyperdrive cars, went onto intermediate tyres. Both hyperdrive cars onto intermediates. So the top brass, Hall, going to have to come into the pits again. And for JD Venter, this is a perfect opportunity for him. This is how he can take home another race win this season and take the World Drivers' Championship lead. He comes into the pits there. All that can go wrong for him now is if he gets a puncture in the wet, and that is less possible than me getting a girlfriend. And I'm serious when I say I don't talk to women. I'm sorry, it's not funny. Lol from Ocampo, he's 4th, so he's definitely comfortable with this position. I don't see why he is. If it finishes like this, he's not going to be leading the championship anymore. He's going to drop to 2nd at best, as the rest of the field now barrel into the pits, as JD Venter leading from the UK ball. Sebastian Ocampo, this is probably from a few turns ago, reporting rain, as now he comes in, and he's going to come out in P3. So now this fight we thought was for the lead is now for P3. Mercedes have pulled out a strategic masterstroke out here. I'm genuinely surprised at how they managed to pull this off. And as for Akari, he's dropped to 11th, he's dropped to 12th. This is not the day for Pinnacle Formula E team. After winning last time out in East London, they're currently running 13th and 20th. 13th and 20th. It's a fate worse than death. Scoring no points. Anyway, we have an Ocui that he's pulling out on Seb Ocampo there. He's going to try it. He's sending it down the inside, and that will be the podium position for an Ocui, the top 2, as an Ocui getting a track limits warning, so that could still be Ocampo's position, and it is going to be Ocampo's position. And out in front, really, I don't see a way for JD Venter to lose this race. It's not even close. The gap between him and UK Ball is just 8.5 seconds. As an Ocui pulling out to the inside, he's actually losing time because he's not in the slipstream. No DRS, so that can't help him. That gap opening and closing pretty rapidly. UK Ball not really going too slow unless that gap opens up quite unnaturally to like say 12 seconds all of a sudden. But yeah, UK Ball definitely losing a lot of time to JD Venter. I think he's just trying to hold on to that second position with only 2 laps left in this race. We have lost no drivers, but drivers have lost that hope for a race lead. Ocampo now up into P3 again. So to run through that running order, it is JD Venter to start the penultimate lap of the E3 from UK Ball and Ocampo. Then it's not Huey, Tigranes, Camino, Lucia Clerk, Bob, Fabulous, and Bob Desar of the top 10. That's your point score is currently with only a single lap left to run. And there is literally not too much that these other drivers can do to stop JD Venter. His tyres are looking fine, so I don't see Venter getting a puncture anytime soon. We thought we were going to have a race for the win, but we're currently watching the race for the final position on the podium between Ocampo and Anok Huey. Huey joined this championship in Season 6. Ocampo is a relative novice. He just joined, and out of the race has gone Anok Huey! Oh my god, on the penultimate lap of the E3, he forced him very wide. Ocampo there. And that basically means to start the final lap, JD Venter is going to have free air and no threats. The top 3 basically have their positions set in stone. Drivers finishing races in the podium positions 10 seconds away from each other. This is simple. I'm kidding, of course. It's basically the safest way to end a race. But I'm serious when I say once Seb Ocampo crosses the start-finish, JD Venter is going to cross the first sector line, and he already has. The gap between the top 3 spread out over 30 seconds. That is the entirety of this second sector. Correction, that's the gap between the start of the final sector and turn 1. That's the gap between first and third. It's absolutely unbelievable how well this day has gone for JD Venter. But as he rounds out this final chicane, JD Venter is going to look to the checkered flag as he comes through the final turn. JD Venter wins the Melbourne E3 from UK Ball and Sebastian Ocampo. And he should take the fastest lap. He took the fastest third sector, but he should take the first position in the World Drivers' Championship. He should take the lead in that. UK Ball coming across the line now. And we now look to Dav Sanchez. He's currently under threat from Carlos Sainz for that 10th position on the road. It will be 10 to Sainz either way. The gap between first and second, 13 seconds. We haven't seen a gap this big since this race back in Season 8. That one was kind of farcical. Bob Desar with the fastest lap. It's a 103.933. It's a dry to wet race once again in this championship. But wow. And this is the podium for the E3. JD Venter wins from UK Ball and Sebastian Ocampo. Quite the strategy Mercedes put out there. And great stuff from Braun to get a better, as good of a strategy as Mercedes had. Then it's Tigranes, Camino, Leclerc, and Bob, your top 7. Just like that is Iron at Fabness in 8th. Then it's Daniel Baltasar of Carlos Sainz, your top 10, your point scorers, with Bob Desar getting a fastest lap point. Outside of the top 10, you have Akari, who looks as if he could have won a race, but it's another close but no cigar moment for the Philippine driver. Ravo 11th, then it's Mielrez and F1 World. Dav Sanchez, Mahavir Raghunathan. And now for the rest of the finishers, you have Pastor Maldonado, who started 2nd, dropped to 17th. Yuki Suo, Leo, Theodore Schumacher, and Marcus Nelson. Your non-finisher was Anok Huey. In the driver's standings, JD Venter leads the way on 77 points, and he's ahead of Seb Ocampo. Then it's UK Ball, Carlos Sainz 1 point ahead of Ravo, who is 1 point ahead of Annette Bamnes. Miles Leclerc 7th, Anok Huey 8th. That's your top 8, and for the rest of the drivers, I'll let you read it out yourself. In the constructors' standings, Heading into the next round of the championship, Mercedes lead the way on 126 points ahead of Hyperdrive Racing. Then it's Braun Honda GP on 85 points, and then it's a tie for P4 between DS Andretti and Jaguar. Outside of that, you have Red Bull Formula E team on 60 points, 2 points ahead of Lamborghini Mexico, who are 8 points ahead of Pinnacle Formula E team. Then you have Renault Edams on 36 points, Skoda Volkswagen on 29, and Roden Toyota on 16 points. We'll see you guys next time then for the Lagos E-Prix.